Hello there, I'm Artsy Gamer 7 and welcome back to some more speed building on the channel. We are back with the D&D mansion build, the big ginormous mansion that I have been working on for a while now. And we'll be featuring a little mini series at the end of this series this build series where I put all the D&D characters that I was doing a create a sim on into this lovely house and then see what chaos ensues. This is the first build, speed build on the channel here since I have gotten married, so I was on sort of a break. It wasn't an intentional break, but if you watched my few little vlogs I had through the months of August through October, then you sort of know what was going on. Basically, I had the wedding coming up and was getting a little overwhelmed, realized I had a lot of stuff that I still had to do that wasn't finished. So I had to sort of take a break from some things. Obviously, I couldn't take a break from my job. One, I didn't want to lose my job, so I couldn't just be like, hey, I'm not coming in today because I have stuff to do. And also, I needed money. I need to pay bills and stuff. So, yeah. Ultimately, I had to choose to let the channel sort of just sit there for a bit. That was not my hopes when I started the new channel. I wanted the new channel to not have any, huge breaks. I didn't mind having small breaks, because everyone needs breaks every once in a while. Anyone who does YouTube, YouTube or Twitch or whatever platform you use, TikTok, it doesn't matter. If you're posting constantly every single day or streaming every single day or putting something on at least some sort of platform every single day, if you're able to do it, power to you, that's good. But for me, I don't think no matter what it is, whether it's work or YouTube stuff or even my art stuff and drawing and watching show, any of that stuff, every once in a while stuff gets a little too repetitive, a little too much, and sometimes you just need a break from different things. Hey, I want to do something different this time, or work is getting a little stressful, I need a mental day or something. And there is nothing wrong with that. If anyone tries to tell you there's something wrong with that, that's fine. I know there are some people out there who try to take advantage of that, and they take multiple days off of work or try to when they don't necessarily need to, and it's not fair to those who actually do need those days to have off. But at the same time, if you need a break, don't hesitate. Try to take breaks when you can. And that's how I have treated the channel for a while. There was at one point that I felt the need to try to force myself to post all the time. But luckily, I eventually realized that there was no point in me doing that. I was just stressing myself out. I was making the channel not as fun. And also just, exhausting myself. Luckily, I have now come to a point where I understand that. And, if I need a break, I'm going to take a break. But, that being said, I wasn't planning on taking over a month break. But I needed to put wedding stuff ahead of YouTube stuff, because the wedding date was coming up. And then we had, not necessarily a honeymoon. We did do, a little tiny trip, but nothing, too big right now. And after that, I was I spent literally a whole entire month working my ass off trying to get stuff done, because I did a lot of the wedding decorations myself, or I took stuff and slightly edited them to give our own personal touch to them. So basically for the whole month of September, I was just I was at work, and when I wasn't at work, I was working on things for the wedding. I didn't play any games at all. It didn't matter, Switch, PC, Xbox, nothing. I wasn't playing any of that stuff. I wasn't getting to do art stuff outside of what I was doing for the wedding. So I didn't draw any of my D&D characters or just, draw for fun. Nothing for the whole month of September. And at the same time, because I was so focused on that stuff, I couldn't do my portion of the house stuff either. After the wedding, it was like, I need a break, and I also need to sort of recover the house a little bit. So yeah, the month of October was a lot of that as well. So I am finally at a place where things are feeling more relaxed. Granted, I do have a new job that I am starting soon. Well, technically, as I'm recording this, my new job starts the very next day. But by the time you're seeing this, my new job would have already started. But yeah. Anyway, we're gonna get into the video here. Enough talking about myself. I do some, I will say, like, sometimes I'm like, I feel like I give updates almost too often. But I also am like, I don't know if everyone notices when some of my videos go out. So I'm like, I don't know if they've seen my update vlog yet. I don't know if they know what was going on. So let me just do a little recap. Anyway, yeah, so we're with the D&D mansion here. We are obviously still working on the bedrooms, which, other than a little bit of stuff that I'm going to do outside, is going to be the last of the rooms. They're all going to be bedrooms, which I've mentioned in the last so many videos as well. We're just trying to make it through the 30-some bedrooms for all these characters. I may have made this project a little too ambitious when I started it, which is a problem of mine. Partially why I ended up having to work on wedding stuff all of September, because I was like, I'll get everything done. It won't take, I mean, it will take a while, but it won't take extremely long time. And it's just a simple do this, this, and this. And then when I actually start working on it, I realize how long it's actually going to take and how big of a project it actually is. And then I'm like, oh, okay. Well, and this is one of those cases as well. Honestly, looking at it now, I still would have done the mini-series. Therefore, I still would have done this build. And I also still would have done the creative sim and so on and so forth. But I think I should have cut back on the number of characters that was in the Creative Sim series and was going to be in the little mini reality series, that thing that we're going to do at the end. Because if I would have cut back on the number of characters, then the Creative Sim series wouldn't have been as long, and then it also wouldn't have been quite as big of a project on this mansion. So, going forward, depending on how this little mini series thing goes out, like doing like a reality TV type show thing with these characters where I don't do much of the controlling and we just see what happens, and with the help of mods and other things, see what chaos ensues. If I do something like that again in the future, definitely think I'm going to cut back on the number of people that's going to be in said house. So like this one has like 30 some. I want to say that my playlist, because I was looking back at it today to figure out where I've left off on things, my D&D playlist is at like 30 some videos. Therefore, it's 30 some characters because there's still 3 characters left to go, and it's already in the 30 some. So I think it was like 34. So total of 37ish. I'm thinking is going on there, unless I accidentally added a video to that playlist that's not supposed to be in there. Very possible though, but I didn't think I seen any that wasn't supposed to be there. But anyway, besides the point. So definitely probably shouldn't do 30 some characters next time if I do just decide to do something like this again with like another group of Sims. But yeah, anyway, we are currently in Amaris's room. So Amaris is my little moon elf lady who is very much I'm going to use my feminine ways to my advantage to get what I need and what I want, because I have fallen away from my home planet. Well, not really home planet, homeland. And I don't know how to get back, and eventually I would like to find a way to get back, but I need money to do things and figure things out and stuff like that. So yeah, so there's a lot of like sort of moon-like things. I also imagine in her homeland where they technically were close to the moon. They're not necessarily in space, but obviously if they're closer to the moon, they're obviously closer to space than the people that are on the world. Or like, for simple terms, we'll just use Earth. Obviously, depending on what D&D campaign she was put in, it would probably not be called Earth, but to make it relatable as of right now to everyone, Earth. So, yeah. I did give her some spacey things, but I tried to stay focused more on moons and stars and keep those blues and blacks and sort of night colors going throughout her room. There are little cheeky things in her room to show her slightly more promiscuous side to her as well. You might have noticed a few of those things here and there. And I also tried to make her room pretty light, but also have some of those dark colors, just because the moon technically does reflect some light off. The moon doesn't always mean darkness, so yeah. So I tried to give it that sort of overall feel to her room. There was a few times where I was a little lost with her room, trying to get it filled out. There's a few of these rooms that I do that, because I end up realizing I made some of the rooms a lot bigger than I needed to. Another part of my making projects a little too much, getting too ambitious with them, considering that I don't want them to spend all of the time in their room, and I don't want them to have a bunch of nice things in their room, because I want there to be reasons why they would want to leave their room. Obviously, I'm trying not to put too many things in there. Most of the stuff I'm trying to put in there is more decorative in a way, not so much an activity that the sim themselves can do, except for a few things here and there every once in a while, because there are going to be times when they're trapped in their room. So I found some of them hard to fill up compared to others, depending on CC and stuff that I had, so yeah. But ultimately, in the end, I was pretty happy with the room. I think I slightly switch up her light a bit. Usually you don't really see the ceiling lights too often, unless like you're taking screenshots or something like that. But otherwise, you don't normally see them. By now, obviously, we are already in the next room. So the next room is Pura's room, which is my like butterfly lady, my crazy butterfly barbarian lady. So I definitely wanted to have things like butterflies in a room. I also wanted it to have like a naturey vibe with some flowers and stuff like that as well, because obviously butterflies like flowers and are attracted to them. So I would imagine, obviously with these butterfly people, they're a little bit bigger, so you know, probably can't get nectar and stuff out of flowers as much. Granted, in the fantasy world of D&D, I'm sure there are some flowers out there that are big enough for the butterfly people, so you could still probably roll with it. But yeah, with her room, one of the things that I really wish I could do, and I'm still like, I think one of my mods that I have now might allow me to do it, and I might try to go back in and add it. But I know I had a few different mods in that allowed you to place some of the bugs and stuff that were from like the outdoor retreat in places. Like it was an easier way to place them wherever you wanted. They didn't just be in worlds that they were put in for the Sims. You can actually add them to your own lots and stuff. And I think I also had a few other CC things that were like bug spawning related, and or like cheats in or something like that. But I know at least the few that I tried at the time didn't allow me to put them indoors. Like some of them was not letting me go indoors. And I want to say the ones that would go indoors, none of them were butterflies. That sort of made me sad. But I think I am going to try to find some to get some butterflies floating around in a room. It also may be an issue once I put them in there. They might be going through the walls. So that also may be a problem. But that will be a problem that we will deal with at a later date when I go to try to do that. But I did use some butterflies in her, like actual butterflies, but they were the ones that are in like the little terrarium things or whatever. And you can't size those down without the butterfly spawning in really weird. So they take up a lot of space. So trying to set them in places and it look fine and also like not take up all of the shelving and stuff. A little hard, but ultimately doable. But I had more of a harder time setting up her room than I did Amaris's room. Like Amaris's room, even though like it was more of just trying to find a few little objects here and there to cover up some spaces and to make it look a little bit more lived in and stuff like that. Hers was just in general trying to fit everything together. Originally, I tried to do like the grass floor, but none of the wallpapers were really looking normal with it. And I was like, this just doesn't seem And like, I was constantly debating things. I think partially still debating this wallpaper, and at the time right now, I don't even remember if I stick with that. I think I do, but just trying to make everything go together, because she is like a very pretty beautiful, delicate butterfly lady, but she's also a crazy psycho barbarian. So trying to fix those things all together in one into a room and show that personality was a little bit hard. Imagining her decorating a room, having it look the way, like if I could just make the CC myself, like literally like just, think it and make it pop into the game, this room would definitely look a whole lot different. So this was one of the ones I probably struggled the most on. And technically, like, right now or here in a moment, you actually probably will see me trying to make sure what the butterflies look like when they're spawned into the game, and if you downsize them, what they look like, the ones that are from, like, the Granite Falls and stuff, and figuring out that you cannot downsize them because it will not look right, and it will not act quite properly, so obviously I have to keep them the size that they are, which is quite big in comparison to some stuff. That I will say, in the terms, granted, if you're having a thing for an insect, obviously it probably should be a decent size so that they have room. And something like a butterfly, the fact that they're open makes sense that the butterfly could actually fly out every once in a while. But, it should be a decent size to function. But I do feel like sometimes there is some objects in The Sims that are way too big. Like, if the Sim itself was to actually put their hand near some of the decorative objects and look like they were going to go pick them up, they look bigger than they should be. I find that a lot with a lot of the kitchen items, so I'm constantly downsizing the kitchen items all the time because I think a lot of times they just look big. And maybe it's just the perspective, maybe it's just I want to be able to put a lot more on the countertops, therefore these items are taking up space of when I can have, like, multiple items there. But anyway, that is just personally sort of how I feel, that sometimes the objects look really too big. But there's a lot of CC items that I have and that I use, and when I put them in the room, like in the game and stuff like that, and compare them to objects of slightly similar things that are actually part of the game, it does seem like I'm not the only one who thinks this, because there are a lot of CC items that actually are not. There are some CC items I still downsize, and there might be different reasons for that. It might be an item that technically, I would imagine, comes in various sizes, so sometimes it looks a little bit bigger in someone's room because they bought, like some statues and things like that. You can get the same thing in, like, 3 different sizes. Like, especially vases. Vases are a really good point of that. Sometimes some vases come in several different sizes so that you can put them in, like, little asymmetrical stuff together and, like, have the varying sizes. But I do downsize or upsize some CC, but I feel like I do it less with CC items than I do with in-game from EA items. Maybe that's just me. I don't know. Maybe. But yeah, back onto this room. So I am getting to the end of her room and putting, like, butterflies everywhere, trying to figure out where to put a lot of the stuff that I did get for this room that was, like, butterfly related was, like, wall stuff, and in some ways I was, like, trying to figure out where to make it all put it and actually make it make sense and make it not look weird. Her room was just a little bit more of a struggle to me. Like, I'm still, like, looking back on it right now. There's parts of it that I do like and I do love, but there's other parts of it that I'm, like, not totally crazy. Granted, I just don't know what else I would do differently within what I can do. Like, those butterflies, like, on the back wall that are blues and purples and stuff, I wish I could have those be more focused on the blue more than the purple, and also maybe even some little bit of blacks, because her color scheme is, like, blacks and blues. So yeah, but a lot of the stuff that I liked didn't come in the blue that I really wanted, because hers is, like, a really bright blue. Granted, when she's in her room, at least you'll be able to see her, because she's not going to blend in with the same exact blue, because this is definitely not the same exact blue that she wears. But yeah, I like the room. I do like the room, but I think this is one of the rooms that I'm a little bit more with and a little bit more disappointed with than some of the others, and I feel like I took a lot longer on this room than some of the others. Partially just because I was struggling. It wasn't so much that I had a lot to put in the room or, I had a lot of ideas. It was more of I didn't have enough ideas. That I was confused and struggling the whole entire time. So, yeah. But let me know if you like the room. Maybe it's just me personally. Maybe the room actually turned out really well. So if you really like the room, let me know down in the comments below. Or if, there's some things that you've seen in my custom content from past videos or even in this video, or even like EA stuff that you was like, hey, did you forget about this item? It might work better for you. Or try this bed instead or something. Like, feel free to let me know, because that probably literally... I've got almost all the rooms done, I think, to this point. It's just a matter of editing and thinking back. I really think that's probably one of my least favorite rooms that I finished. I wasn't upset with it, but I wasn't happy with it necessarily either. It was just, I got to a point where I was like, okay, I don't know what else to do to make this any better or to change this, so I'm just going to move on. But yeah, feel free to give me any helpful tips on that one. But now we are going on to a room that I'm actually quite happy with. So, went from a slightly meh room. Well, not really. I like how Amaris's room turned out. I did struggle a little bit with it at one point, but ultimately the end result I liked. Pyrrha's room I struggled with the whole entire time, and I'm a little meh about how it turned out. But this room, I didn't really struggle. And I actually really liked how it turned out as well. So, now we're going on to a room that I'm going to be like, yeah! And this is going to be Zahara's room. Zahara is one of the last characters to make it through the D&D cast thing. Technically, since at the time of this video, Zahara, actually her creative sim will probably not be out. So you probably have not met or seen Zahara at this time. So it's going to be a little bit weird, but technically I rolled dice for all these characters to get a choosing order, and I couldn't just change the dice. There's only 2 characters that didn't get a choice with the dice. And that technically was Nita, because she is my first ever D&D creation. She was my first character, so she holds a little special spot in my heart for my D&D characters. So she obviously got the first room. And then there's technically a character that I'm treating like she was a last on addition to the show sort of situation. So hers is going to be the last room, and she also is the last character on the D&D cast series. So other than those 2, everyone else was decided by dice. Dice decided who got to pick what room first. Can't help that Zahara's room popped up before her creative sim. But they're actually going to be really close, because literally Zahara's is the next video to go up, and I think with my schedule, if I'm thinking right, this should be going up on a Thursday. You should be seeing this on Thursday, the 3rd? November the 3rd, if I'm thinking of that right. And then Zahara's creative sim should be going up on Saturday, the 5th. Is that the 5th? Am I doing this right? Yeah, it's the 5th. The 5th and the 3rd. So technically, they're not going to be that far away from each other. So, if you're seeing this before Saturday the 5th, know that Zahara's creative sim is coming out real soon. And you should be able to actually meet the girl who this room is designed for. Without going too deep into her character, to just give you a quick overview, she is a magical, potion-y type lady who likes dark-colored rooms and dark-colored stuff, even though she technically lived in a desert setting. So yeah, anyway, I ultimately was pretty happy with Zahara's room. So Zahara definitely is an interesting character. I definitely wanted to have... She's sort of technically like a royal person, so I definitely wanted there to be an elegance to this room, along with sort of a dark, magical, creepy vibe going on as well. And you'll see that with all the little items I have. There's like a bunch of little potions and a bunch of mushrooms and like scrolls and pages of what's probably different recipes for other potions. She's got a lot of books. Like, I love the thing that I got to put over her bed to be, I'm imagining for her sake, they're all spell magic related books. So like, I had a lot of fun with her room, and I ultimately really, really liked how her room turned out. I am noticing after I added the items in there, there is some item that is adding some light, more light in there than I wanted it, because I really liked the ambiance of the like red lighting. So there is, I think, yeah, it's that one thing I just picked up. Going into it, when I do the little mini series, I might dim the lights on those a little bit so that the red lighting in this room takes over again a little bit more, and dim the light of that little magical orb thing, because I liked the slightly dimmer red looking lighting in this room. So that's something I might go back and do later on. But yeah, she's got a lot of seating in here. Just, you know, if she has friends come over or something like that. She does have a sister. Again, you will hear a little bit more about that whole situation in her creative sim. But she does have a sister, and I did purposely try my best to make sure that her sister actually has a room close to hers. When we actually go do her sister's room, I will sort of say a little scenario story I got in my head that I want to imagine happened. But yeah, that was Zahara's room. Like I said, I was ultimately in the end pretty happy with how it turned out. I was actually super excited to get to her room whenever it got there. I was sort of hoping she would actually been further up the list, but like I said, I did. We're doing these series slightly ruled by the dice, because technically these are D&D characters, and I like adding that little D&D spin since these are supposed to be D&D characters. So some things are getting decided by dice. I've explained in the past before what the little reality series is sort of going to be structured like. Dice are going to be playing a major role in that series as well once we get to that point. But that is in the future. Anyway, back onto the video. Let me know what you think about Zahara's room down in the comments below. I hope you do like how it turned out. Hey, weird cut here. I hope you enjoyed the rooms that were in this video. I ended up not realizing when my little cut was to start the second voiceover, so I just kept talking all the way through to what was technically supposed to be the next video. So yeah, I'm having to do a weird cut, but thank you so much for watching. I hope you've liked these videos. I hope you're looking forward to the next one, even though I have already messed up. Good job, me. But yeah, let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Make sure you're subscribed. You know all that lovely YouTube goodiness. I'll hopefully see you in the next one. But until then, bye bye!